Thank you. Can I take the opportunity to commend Deputy Kenny for bringing this bill before the House? I'd like to say that from the outset. I appreciate the comments of members thus far and the Minister's response, and indeed a decision on whether to change the law, and indeed if that decision is to change the law and how best that can be done, cannot and should not be rushed. I'm glad the Minister referenced the previous, I would say, significant societal changes that have happened in the past that were instigated or finalised, I should say, in this House, because they weren't instigated here. They were instigated in kitchens and living rooms and coffee shops around the country. And of course, the journey that this House and its members went on in those profound societal changes, such as marriage equality and the repeal of the 8th Amendment, may not have suited everybody, but the majority of people supported them, and those decisions were finalised and crystallised in this House. And I believe, notwithstanding the point that Deputy Kenny made in relation to the previous Oireachtas committee, I served on the Oireachtas committee in the 31st and 32nd Dáils, and I can say with certainty that the work of the all-party Oireachtas committees, special committees, on issues of profound moral and societal issues, I think are deserving of careful and methodical deliberation on the part of members of this House. This bill raises emotive questions, profound emotive questions, in fact, of morality and of ethics, and I absolutely accept the position that the Deputy has adopted in relation to his wish to genuinely assist people in what can be only described as a tragic and painful position. And in that vein, that he said that he accepted the bona fides of members of the government parties in proposing a counter-motion. In that vein, I might suggest that the Deputy ask the Department of Justice, perhaps through parliamentary question, to speculate on how long it would take for the drafters in the Department of Justice and indeed the Department of Health to take a bill at second stage through to the final stage. And I would, and I will confer with the Minister afterwards, I would imagine that 9 months is probably conservative. And I say that having been on the Justice Committee in the 31st and 32nd Dáils. There are, as the Minister has alluded, questions in relation to certain parts of the bill which could be somewhat problematic, and therefore, for that reason as well, there should be further consideration given to it. Deputy might wish to be aware that I listened to Drive Time recently, and I was driving home. I was listening to it on a podcast, and I listened to the member of the public who the Deputy referenced, Bernadette, I think was her name. And prior to that, I was aware of this. I'd had a few correspondence about it, but not many. And I have to say, I thought, well, this has the potential to be another one of those journeys that we have all been on in the last number of years, because it is a profoundly personal question that currently is not answered by the law. It is prohibited by the law. But Bernadette's comments and her story of trying to assist a friend and being arrested at a travel agent door for trying to help her friend resonated with me. It left me time to think in the car as I drove on. And what I would say to the Deputy and to the members present, that something like this, something as profound as this, shouldn't be rushed, because it'll take all of us to carefully listen to experts that we will not have access to in the same way as we will with an all-party committee with hearings and the like that we've all gone through in the past. And perhaps some will change their view, and perhaps others in either direction, I might add. But perhaps a majority of members will decide that this is something that they will support and the bill may progress further. There's no reason, for instance, Deputy, that it will take the full 12 months for the committee to be established and to report, albeit with difficulties with meeting for more than 2 hours and the like. I'm sure there are ways in which such a committee can be constructed as to expedite their element of the work. But I'll finish Cahirlock where I started, and that is to commend the Deputy for bringing the bill forward. I believe it's something that we should carefully consider, and I think that consideration can really only take place in the forum that we have used in the past, and I believe it would be worthy of all members to take the time to consider the counter-motion and the sentiment of the statement made by the Minister for Justice before making their decision to either stop this from proceeding further or to attempt to adopt a bill which I believe will not pass the House. Thank you.